We are tracking Captain Soban. He's being taken to a Vega facility where he will be subjected to interrogation. Our objective will be to rescue him.
Something's wrong. We've been pulled out of hyperspace.
Massive anomaly detected.
Pursuing target.
Second hyperspace signature detected. Translated. We are the keepers of Abbasid. We are the servants of Sajuuk. The keepers are assuming attack formation and launching attack drones. Full combat alert.
Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Homeworld 2 Remastered. So we have been stopped dead in our tracks by the keepers of Abbasid. Most likely named after the Abbasid Caliphate, although spelled differently. So let's engage them and hopefully get ourselves out of this, because we need to get a move on with our original mission. First off, a little bit of a history lesson. The Abbasid Caliphate arose in the mid-700s following the dramatic expansion of Islam in the Middle East in the 600s. The Abbasid dynasty overthrew the Umayyads and established the city of Baghdad in what is, of course, now modern-day Iraq.
Strike group under enemy attack. Repairs initiated.
A keeper has vanished. Sensors indicate there was a major energy distortion in the vessel before it disappeared. There are no signs of debris.
Alright, so they have magical disappearing capabilities. So much of the Abbasid courtly culture actually drew inspiration from Persian royalty. The Abbasid Empire would spread Muslim culture eastward and established further trade routes with the Far East. Additionally, knowledge of the classical era was further translated into Arabic, which expanded their horizons.
The keepers have simply disappeared. No known cloaking field signature was detected.
The unity brought about by the Caliphate was not to last, and by the 10th century the Abbasid Empire had fragmented, with the Caliph himself being just a figurehead in Baghdad under the tutelage of a Buyid Sultan. By the 11th century, the Abbasid Empire would further contract due to the invading Seljuk Turks. Eventually, the Abbasid dynasty would completely fall to the Mongol invasions when Baghdad fell in 1258.
Roger. Strike group coordinates locked in.
So, anyway, now that we've gotten through the crazy fight at the Vega assembly point, these keepers show up and they want their Dreadnought back. So, we have to face off against not one, but several keepers in this mission.
Group 4 reporting. Subsystem construction complete. Standing by. Standing by.
The Bentusi are here.
We see you have acquired a progenitor Dreadnought. This is a most powerful weapon. Bring it to us, and we will repair the great cannon.
Alright, well, so nice of the Bentusi to show up and help us out. We could certainly use a fully functioning Dreadnought.
Resource collector awaiting orders. Group 2
So we are going to dock with it.
ready.
Anyway, as I was saying, I don't believe these keepers are the same one that we encountered in the Karos graveyard at the Dreadnought birth. I think they're different ones. Obviously, because we just faced one in that mission and there's multiple ones here.
Resource collector.
So, but of course they are of the same ship class.
Reinforced.
So this is essentially a survival mission, and you have to move quickly, because there's no way to destroy these keepers. You just have to shoot them until they go away.
Strike group moving into position.
And unlike the keeper in the Dreadnought Birth, which hyperspaced away when it took too much damage, these ones literally phase out of existence, as we saw,
Production?
only to return later at full health. So they have magical powers, and you also notice that when they come back that they'll also hyperspace away and then hyperspace back in, but other times they'll phase out. So what's the difference?
Formation acknowledged.
They're just meant to be this weird, enigmatic enemy that we fight and we cannot really destroy.
Green line
Now,
confirmed.
unfortunately, there are no power modules and power generators around this area, so we can't like trap it like we did the first one.
Complete.
So
Confirmed.
yeah, we're just kind of stuck here
Destination
now.
locked in. Acknowledged. Docking with carrier. Confirmed. Resource collector standing by.
Anyway, the
Docking with
Dreadnought's
carrier.
about to dock, and the Bentusi will take some time and repair it. I'm just organizing the fleet right now.
Docking signal green.
The Bentusi can repair the Dreadnought cannon. Mover complete.
Alright, so it's going to take him about 5 minutes to repair this sucker. In my original playthrough of this game in the classic version, this is like one of the only missions of like 2 missions where I actually will use platforms. So, but I'm not going to use any here because probably because I've set the difficulty scaler to 0, there's like very little opposition you face in this mission. It's actually quite easy.
Standing by.
So, but yeah, this is probably one of the few missions where I actually will use platforms. And the thing about platforms is that they only have one move command. So like probes, once you move them, they're going to stay in that position.
Resource collector awaiting
Yeah.
orders.
And furthermore, you do not carry them over with you into the next mission. So once you build them in one mission and you leave in hyperspace to the next mission, they don't go with you. So, which is kind of weird. I mean, there's such an odd kind of static defense to have.
Defensive perimeter set.
It's just weird to have
Roger.
to mount a static defense in
Sharp.
space.
Show no mercy.
Even then, platforms in the game do not provide a substantial amount of firepower. Like, really, they are of some utility, but mostly they're just kind of there as a distraction. So I guess I'd rather lose a platform than a capital ship, but yeah, even the ion cannon platforms, I don't think the ion cannon is as powerful as the ones on ion cannon frigates or on other ships. So
Confirmed.
and I found that lots of strike craft, every time I dock them with the carrier, they get stuck on the bow of the carrier, and you have to move the carrier to get them to move again.
Ready.
But anyway, like I said, I'm not going to use any platforms in this mission.
Confirmed. Defensive tactics confirmed. Keep your eyes peeled.
Of course, remember that
Ready.
this great harbor ship of Bentusi here has been around
Defensive
for
tactics confirmed.
millennia,
Keep your eyes
basically,
peeled.
and it was the one that people thought there were multiple ones of, but in fact there's only just this one. And apparently this is, for whatever reason, the very last of the Bentusi ships. So, but yes, this
Ready.
one intervened when the Higaran Empire of,
Docking underway.
the old times got all uppity and decided to make life
Reporting.
miserable for the Titan
Coming
and
into
started
dock.
the war. Yes, eventually the ship and the Bentusi had to intervene, and
Copy.
the rest is history, as they say, right? As we learned in the original backstory. In the prelude to end times, as it were.
Strike group confirmed.
Alright, just putting everyone together here.
Stay sharp.
Alright, about 2 minutes until they repair that
Signal
thing.
green.
This mission is weird. It just throws powerful enemies at you with no explanation. You cannot kill them, and they actually get stronger as the mission goes on. Now,
Strike group coordinates locked in.
like I said, thankfully with difficulty scaler at 0, this mission comes very easily. Normally, you're fighting off the keepers constantly throughout this mission. But here, obviously, we don't have a whole lot to do. On the upshot, it does have a really nice background, a nice bit of change from the usual golden-orange backgrounds that are predominantly in this game. We are in the Great Wastelands, so yeah, we're away from the galactic core, so I guess that makes sense that we actually can see like stars, and we're outside the galactic core, maybe even outside the outer rim.
Underway. Docking with mothership. Underway. Move order confirmed. Roger.
It is a bit funny, I've been thinking about how destroyers in this game are classified as capital ships, you know, along with heavy cruisers in Homeworld 1. Because in World War II, a capital ship would obviously be a battleship or a carrier, and destroyers or frigates are just small escorting fleet vessels. But in this game, the largest ship, the mothership, is not considered a combat unit, and the largest combat vessels are the Dreadnought, and later on we'll have the battle cruisers.
You're clear to dock.
Just docking all the strike craft, making sure, getting the fleet all ready.
Strike group coordinates locked in.
Again, just checking, make sure we got a whole bunch of fire control spheres all around us.
Copy.
We have prepared the great cannon. You will find it requires time to recharge after it has been fired.
Alright, well, thank you. Appreciate that. So we have a fully functioning Dreadnought now. Of course, if you know the history of the Dreadnought, right, the historical HMS Dreadnought was commissioned in 1906 and was the first battleship with a uniform main armament and steam turbines. She literally kicked off a naval arms race and inspired an entire generation of ships that followed her lead, which culminated in the Super Dreadnought type battleships of World War II. In fact, the name Dreadnought literally means fear nothing, as in dread nothing.
Coordinates confirmed.
There's a pen and paper war game called Fear God and Dreadnought. So it's by Larry Bond. It's part of the Admiral trilogy. So Fear God, Dreadnought covers World War I. Command at Sea covers World War II, and Harpoon covers the modern era. So if anyone's interested in sort of pen and paper war games, the Admiral trilogy is a good one. All right. So we got an actual like battleship, you could say. But in the next mission, we'll actually get battle cruisers, which will be interesting, you know. And I can talk a little bit about the difference between battle cruisers and battleships in a little bit later, but we have a Dreadnought here.
Standing by. En route.
I am strategically placing some of these ships in certain areas, and we'll find out why in a minute or two. The thing about the Dreadnought is that it's so slow. Look at its speed. It moves at like 69 meters per second down there in the lower left. Ugh. Just lumbers along.
Alert. 4 inbound contacts acquired. The Keepers have returned. We must defend Bentus at all costs.
Oh, look.
Lock all weapons
So
on
now we have
target.
to defend the Bentusi
Reporting.
against 4 enemies that have us
Prepare
surrounded.
assault.
4 enemies we cannot kill. We can only shoot them until they go
Strike
away.
group attack order confirmed.
Yeah, I hate survival missions. So as my usual strategy here, just keep everything together and concentrate fire and mutually support each other. Another potential strategy actually is if you can build scouts, then research and develop their scout EMP abilities. So you can have scouts like shoot the keepers with their EMPs, and that will temporarily disable them.
The Keepers are focusing their attacks on Bentus. Bentus and the Dreadnought must be defended.
So yeah, that will disable the keepers for a short period of time. But since I'm full up on Strikecraft, it doesn't matter.
The Keepers cannot be stopped.
Reporting. Reporting.
Interesting that the Dreadnought, despite being progenitor technology, cannot destroy the keepers. Like, we've got a progenitor battleship here, and it cannot destroy a keeper, something that's like the size of a destroyer.
Neutralized. Awaiting
So, how are we going to get rid of him? We're in a bit of a pickle here. Hello, Bentusi. Some advice would be nice
orders.
here.
Attack order confirmed. Standing by. Attack run initiated. Pursuing targets.
Yeah, it's just firing its chin-mounted
Strike
turret at
prepare
it.
for assault. Standing by.
Oh, wait, here goes. Oh yeah, it did fire at it.
Order.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. I mean, it got it to go away, but
Attack clearance received.
now it'll take another 5 years for it to come around on the target.
Ready.
On that target, anyway.
Strike group attack order confirmed. Pursuing targets.
This can be a pretty, bullet sweating mission in the classic version, but in this version it's actually quite simple, or at least with the player's patch and the difficulty scaler turned down, it becomes very simple.
There is only one way to destroy the Keepers. They must be taken with us. Our task is now done, but yours remains.
Power surge detected on Bentus. They are collapsing their quantum wave field to consume the Keepers in its blast.
Bentus is going critical.
They will not survive. Hyperspace initiated.
Our time has ended. Sajuuk awaits beyond the gate of Valkora. The Dreadnought will open the way. There, you must end what has begun. You must take our core and unite the three. This is our